What are we doing today, Thog Dad?
It is looking back at our predictions from August. There's a few stinkers, aren't there?
Yeah, we're going to get roasted.
We always get roasted, Theo.
Yeah, but you sure this is not a bad idea? Like, we've put some bad predictions out there.
Theo, it's a terrible idea, and that's why we're doing it. And that's why we're going to get 10,000 likes. Because the year is over. 2022 starts tomorrow. I can't wait.
Yeah, we're not getting 20,000 likes. It's not possible.
I said 10,000.
But we're getting 20.
Oh my goodness, no way.
Okay, enough waffling. Let's start with Arsenal, shall we?
No, let's randomise it. Let's put it into that supercomputer and do it in a weird order.
So let's start with Watford then.
Oh my goodness, I predicted them to be 18th. You said rock bottom. They're actually 17th. And I'll tell you what, Theo, one player has been a revelation, Emmanuel Dennis.
He's been amazing. We both put them to get relegated. And to be honest, the Watford board are complete fools. They started the season with Xisco. They had an average points per game of 1, which is good. It's survival. It was 7 points in 7 games, and they sacked him. They brought in Claudio Ranieri, and his average points per game have been 0.6. That's nearly half as good. They are in the mud and they're going in the wrong direction. We both put them to get relegated. And if you ask most people now, it looks like they're going down with Newcastle and Burnley knocking on the door. Dad, how do you describe their form?
Oh, it's been terrible, Theo. They've lost the last 5 games. I mean, Emmanuel Dennis, as I mentioned, 13 contributions. He's been a bright spark. I think Burnley might overtake them very soon.
And I just feel for the Watford fans. I thought Xisco was on a good path, probably could have kept them up. It just seems a bit of a shambles right now at the top of Watford. For all those fans that go home and away, I hope it works for you because the season's been a bit of a ball ache. Best of luck surviving, but at this rate, we're probably going to look right in saying they're getting relegated.
Norwich City now, I said 20th,
Yep.
You said 19th, they are 20th. They've scored the least goals, they've conceded the most goals. That's a bad combination, isn't it, really?
Injury crisis,
Yeah.
I've got to be honest. Krul, Norman, Hanley, Rashika, Omar-Bamadeli are all out. You look at their lineup, it just can't compete in the Premier League. I feel for every travelling fan out there. How do you expect to turn up to a game with a bunch of kids and a few first-teamers against top Premier League opposition and get a result? That team wouldn't even compete in the Championship last week. Did you see the state of their team?
Oh, it was terrible. Theo, they've been truly woeful. They brought in a new gaffer in Dean Smith. The honeymoon period, it lasted 4 weeks, didn't it?
Yeah, well, every time they come up to the Premier League, it seems they do slightly worse than they did last time.
Yeah.
It's so depressing for the Norwich fans. Like, they're not putting in a fight, a proper fight to survive. And they are going to go down. We are going to be correct. So, yeah, well done on our predictions. But I do feel for the Canaries fans. I hope you get a win from somewhere and sort it out.
Tottenham Hotspur now 7th, 6th. They're actually 7th, Theo. And they're catching up, aren't they, to their London rivals West Ham.
Do you know what, Dad? Tottenham, they've had a season with the Nuno times, the players falling out with the manager, and Kane falling out with the whole club with his move to City. So they've had all these issues this season. Yet they're only 5 points away from top 4. Do you not think that's really impressive?
I do, and Heung-min Son is a reason for that. 8 goals, 3 assists. He always delivers. Harry Kane's starting to deliver. Lucas Moura's starting to deliver. I think it's looking Millhouse for them.
I disagree, Dad. I think the reason it's all come into plan is Antonio Conte.
Yeah.
He's made Son and Kane work together again. Their recent form has been like previous seasons. Look at the likes of Davinson Sanchez and Eric Dyer. I've never seen them so good. Sanchez got assist against Palace. Eric Dyer's been pinging the balls from centre-back. If you watch 90 minutes of Tottenham, the way he's been playing lately is incredible. You've got to thank Conte and the system he's put in. They're on a good track to top 4. It's very possible.
Southampton now 16th, 14th. They're actually 13th, Theo. And you know what? They've only lost 6 times this season. I underestimated them.
I know you did. I didn't, because I believe in Ralph Hasenhüttl. If you didn't already know, Dad, he's one of my favourite managers in the Premier League. Look at the team. In fact, Josh, put it on the screen that they put against Tottenham. Most Premier League managers would get thrashed by that Tottenham team. Kane and Son, you'd have thought they'd be feasting for dinner. It was a 1-1 draw. Ward-Prowse this season has been incredible and turned up with a great volley. But they work as a team. They're a dynamic. They hold it in together. They got a red card and they still didn't lose to Tottenham. What Ralph has done, Ralph and them, man, has been special, and they're going to continue to stay in the Premier League and fight around the mid-table range.
Crystal Palace now. I said 12th. You said 17th. They are 11th. Theo, you didn't have much trust in Patrick Vieira, mate.
And neither did the bookies, neither did most of the professional pundits that get paid way more than us to predict where the football clubs will end. And the reason is, the team at the start of the summer was a shambles. They sacked Hodgson at a weird time. You've got to remember, all these sort of transfers happened very late on in the summer. When we did our Premier League predictions, it was very difficult to tell whether it would all click for Crystal Palace. No one knew how good Conor Gallagher would be. No one knew how good Mark Guehi would be. Tyrick Mitchell. The list goes on. They've got an incredible side, and I apologise. I got this one wrong.
Theo, I think Odsonne Edouard is going to get more game time and really prove himself.
Yeah, well, I hope so. They do need a goal scorer now that Zaha's just trying to get red cards all the time. They need someone who's going to bag the goals and be the main man, and I think that could be Odsonne in the future.
Everton, I said 11th. You said 11th. They're actually 15th. Now, we got this one wrong, and I think injuries are a big part of it, aren't they?
Massive injury crisis. DCL long term since the first 3 games where he scored 3 goals. We know how important he is to Everton, right? But let's look at the others. Doucouré had a time when he was out. Richarlison, another key player that was out for a part of the season. And because they were all out at different moments, they've never had a momentum strip of form where they can just get the wins in like other teams. Apart from at the start of the season when they were all fit. You can blame Rafa, but when you miss your best players, how are you expected to compete with the best teams?
Yeah, I agree, Theo. You know what? I'm sticking with my 11th place.
Digne fell out with Rafa, which is really worrying. I feel like Benitez hasn't got his final team yet. We've seen recently he signed that Ukrainian fullback. In January, he probably needs to sign a number 10, and then things will start to work for him.
Arsenal now, I said 6th. You said 8th, Theo.
Yeah,
they're actually in 4th place. Yeah, it was a bit of a stinker, lad.
I'm going to use this time to apologise to Arsenal Football Club, Arsenal fans, and to Arteta mainly.
Yeah.
Because even we sat down a couple months ago and said Arteta should be sacked. I take it all back. The signings they made at the start of the season was really good. Odegaard, I didn't think would be as good as he is. Martinelli, I didn't think would have much as an impact. Smith Rowe, 10 contributions in 13 games. Who'd have thought that? Saka, 9 contributions. And the biggest one of all, Ramsdale, the best young goalkeeper on form in the world. In the world. Tell me about a young goalkeeper than him right now.
Theo, he's been brilliant, but also we got to mention Tommy Yasu, we got to mention Tierney, and all the players we've mentioned are young players, Theo.
Yeah, they're all young, and Arsenal only going to get better in the future. I think they will retain top 4. It's going to be close between them and Tottenham. I think they've absolutely outperformed all the critics. Fair play, including me. I admit that.
You know what, Theo? I'm sticking with my 6th place because I think United will creep above them. Manchester United, I said 4th, you said 4th, and they're actually 6th. It's been a funny old season. Let's not forget they've sacked the manager and they brought in a German bloke, didn't they?
They did. It's been a tough season for United. You know, they've been through the back of Ole. They signed Cristiano Ronaldo, which, by the way, I think was the bad idea. I think Cristiano Ronaldo.
So? Because he's got 11 contributions. Was that a mistake?
When you play with Cristiano Ronaldo, he makes everybody else worse. And that's a fact. You look at where Cristiano Ronaldo has gone, Juventus. Chiesa's XG dropped down when Ronaldo was in the team.
Yeah.
He's the centre of the attack. He's the pivot. You're aiming for him. He's the centre of attention. And a good example of that is Mason Greenwood.
Yes.
Do you remember at the start of the season, Dad, scoring a goal for game? He was in our FPL teams. Have we considered him in FPL since?
We haven't. It's also been difficult for Cavani, for Rashford.
And you missed the main name. It's not
really happened, has it, for Sancho?
Bruno Fernandes went in everybody's FPL teams last year. This year, he's too expensive because players like Ronaldo are taking away from the qualities that they have. They're no longer the pivot of the attack. It's Ronaldo. So yes, he's got contributions, but it takes away from the team. Manchester United need to look forward, not into the past. I know I'll get hate for this because there'll be Ronaldo fanboys and they'll be in the comments saying, oh, he's the best player in the world. How can you make a team worse? He makes the team worse because every time they attack, they aim for him. There's better qualities in that side, and I really hope it reaps the rewards going forward. Ralph Rangnick needs to realise the future of the club is not a 36, 37-year-old at striker. No, it's Sancho, it's Rashford, it's Bruno Fernandes, and it's all the young players that are breaking through. They need to be the part of the attack.
But Ragnick's come in, very strong words there from Theo. Ragnick's come in 13 points from 5 games.
He's done well.
It's working.
It's working against Burnley, against easier opponents. I want to see him in the top games. Put him against the big 6 and let's see what happens, because that is when Ragnick's can be tested. So far, he's done a good job.
Aston Villa, I said 9th. You said 9th. They're actually 12th, but it was looking a lot worse for a while until they got rid of Dean Smith.
Well, they got rid of Jack Grealish, first of all. 100 million in the bank. Have they reinvested the 100 million? Well, let's talk through it. Leon Bailey looked good until the injury. Danny Ings has barely played. Buendia, yes, he's been good here and there, but not always excellent, not so consistent. So it's difficult to judge whether they've reinvested the 100 million correctly, but the originals, like the McGinns, the Ollie Watkins, they've been performing this season. The Academy boys, Jacob Ramsey, Chukwuemeka, he's been brilliant breaking through the team. And I've got to give it to Steven Gerrard. He is the reason he's mixing the Youth Academy boys with the originals. It's working for Villa this year, and I do believe my 9th prediction will eventually be correct. I know they currently sit in 12th, but it's getting better for them.
Absolutely, Theo. I'm sticking with that because Steven Gerrard was great at Rangers. He's going to do a great job at Aston Villa. They're a funny old team.
They're transitioning.
They've only drawn once this season. It was win one, lose one, isn't it?
Gerrard fires them up, and they will improve. The one team to watch out for in the Premier League this year, going forward, Aston Villa.
West Ham United, I said 8th, you said 10th, Theo. They're actually 5th. And this is the only team that's breaking up the hierarchy of the Big Six.
Dad, let me just put it straight up to you right now. I didn't think they'd go into a season beating Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City, Tottenham, all at home. The Masuaku moments, these incredible special moments, consistent players like Cresswell, Rice, Antonio, Jared Bowen. The list goes on. Ben Johnson breaking through. David Moyes is a magician.
I tell you what, Theo, we've got to talk about Jared Bowen. 3 goals and 9 assists. It's a breakthrough season for the lad from Hull.
Dad, last season they did well, but did we really think they'd improve and be in 5th place right now? Not even the pundits and the bookies thought this would be the case.
That is true. Declan Rice is turning out to be one of the best players in the country. Every season, we see it with our naked eyes, he gets better.
And the more they hold him, the more they're going to improve. West Ham need to put themselves up there with the top 6. They're competing with them. They're above Tottenham and Leicester. They're doing well. Let's see if they can continue it.
Chelsea, I said 2nd, you said 2nd, they're actually 2nd, but in the last 4 game weeks they've dropped 6 points, they're now 8 points off the lead. Romelu Lukaku, Theo, 5 goals, 1 assist, has he lived up to expectations?
Before I speak about Romelu, I just want to say Chelsea have had a very good season. We both predicted 2nd, we got it spot on. The likes of Reece James, Mason Mount, Chalobah breaking through, Thiago Silva, Rudiger, they've all had incredible seasons consistently from last year through to this year. But Romelu Lukaku has been an absolute fool the way he's acted online, going to an Italian journalist, opening up about how he's upset. Well, how about you go to Tuchel and tell you how you feel? How about you go to the manager and say, look, I don't feel like the tactics like this work for me. I want to make a move. Instead, he went public. Tuchel was surprised. He found out through the journalist when he posted it on social media that he was going to come out angry. I really think this whole situation annoys me. I feel for the Chelsea fans that go home and away each week to watch players like Romelu open up to Italian journalists about how they preferred to be at their old club. That's a disgrace. He should do one and go after Inter. Seriously. Because you know what the Inter CEO is saying about him? He's saying that they signed Dzeko on a free and sold Lukaku for 115 million. And on the pitch, it's about the same quality. That's what the Inter CEO thinks about you. They sold you because they needed the money. So that you can't just bring him back. You're on double the wage now, mate. It's a complete mess, this situation. I feel for Chelsea.
Wow, strong words from Theo. I mean, we know he's a very good player on the pitch, and I think his stats are going to get better. But I agree, Theo.
Okay,
keep it in-house.
This is what should have happened. Speak to Tuchel. I want you to play like this. Tuchel can then think, actually, I want to play like this, or no, I'm going to play my way, and you can adapt to the system. Instead, going public, disgrace. That's not how a football club should be run. They're 2nd in the league. They should be pushing for the Prem. And just because Welbeck scored a last-minute header doesn't mean the season's out the window now and you can go public. The whole situation does my head in. And it's a shame we're speaking about this because Chelsea have actually had a really good year, haven't they?
Calm down, Theo. Can Chelsea catch up with Man City, Theo?
When players are acting like this, maybe not, but they've actually, when they go on a good run of momentum, and I think Thomas Tuchel's a top manager, he understands how to bring the best out of the rest of his team. Been on a good run from the start of the year, they were top of the league for a lot of the time. It's going to be difficult to keep up with City now because they don't have any players off to AFCON. They're not going to lose players like Edouard Mendy, who's so key to the Chelsea side. I think the Premier League's out the window, but you never know with the Champions League or maybe an FA Cup or something like that.
Brentford now, I said 15th, you said 18th, they're actually 14th. I'm going to say I got this one right. They're 9 points above the relegation zone.
They've surprised me. I regret the decision to put them in a relegation spot, 18th. I thought they'd be fighting till the end where they just fall into it. I mean, that could still happen, but I don't think it will. What I've been surprised by this year is Thomas Frank. The system he's applied, 11 players on that pitch will fight, give 120% from the get-go to the final whistle. Look at the moments like West Ham away.
Yes.
Okay, Arsenal at home, Everton at home. They've created moments against teams they've expected to lose against, but because they've wanted it more, they've gone and got the result. That's why they're staying up this season.
That's true, Theo. Everyone talks about Mbomo and Tony because we're thinking of those for our FPL teams, but
hold on.
It's a team unit, and that's why they're doing so well.
I think it's players like Pinnock, Janelt, Norsgaard, consistent performance throughout that team that I've been surprised at this season. That's why I thought they'd be lower down. They've outperformed what I expected of them, and it's really impressive.
Wolverhampton Wanderers, I said 14th, you said 13th. They're actually 8th. I'm not sure
14th?
how... Yes. Well, you said 13th.
Higher up the table.
Do you know what? It's a funny one because only one team has scored less goals than Wolves, and that's Norwich.
We've got to give it to Bruno Lage.
They're very good defensively, aren't they?
Yeah, Bruno Lage has come in and smashed it.
But Theo, do you think they can be 8th at the end of the season?
I think they can hold on. They've got the second best defence in the league. You've got to credit them. Kilman, Saiss and Cody have all played throughout the start of the season. They've been insane. They're a good block. They've got great chemistry. when you watch them play football, it's not the most exciting, but they know how to defend. And big credit to Jose Sarr, second best goalkeeper in the Premier League this season, second best save percentage after Ramsdale. Them two have been so much better than the rest of the goalkeeper bunch. It's insane.
Yeah, but up front, Theo, Raul Jimenez, is he the player he used to be?
He's not the player he used to be. I think he'll start scoring and he'll connect well when Pedro Neto's back. When we see him back in that team, I think Wolves will start scoring more goals. And I think they can hold on to 8th.
And I suppose Podence is out as well. He's only just coming back. So well done, Wolves.
Yeah, smashed it.
Newcastle United, 17th, 15th. 15th, Theo. They're actually 19th. Of course, the big story is the Saudi takeover, isn't it?
Dad, they've had a busy season. And this is part of the reason they're a little bit lower down the table than I expected. They've had the old owners go out.
Yes.
All the sports directs stripped from the stadium. Lots of change there. Of course, Bruce got sacked. They went on that run at the end with Bruce where everyone just turned on him. They had the new ownership come in, and that took a lot of time and a lot of stress, a lot of mental for Newcastle fans and players. And then Eddie Howe comes in. So the whole season so far, it's just been transition. They're going to have a big January. It's not going to be as busy off the pitch, and they're going to stay up. Because if you add in all the stuff that's happened this season, they're only 3 points from getting out the relegation zone.
Theo, you've just said Newcastle United will stay up this season.
Sorry, forget that. They're only 2 points from survival. 2 points getting out the relegation zone after everything they've had so far this season that I just mentioned.
But you're assuming they'll bring in 3 or 4 good players
Absolutely.
and then it will all gel immediately.
They need to. Dad, St. Maximan, Wilson, players like this have just had little injuries. Even Jolinton, he's been improving. They need to sign players to make this work. They've got the money there. Just spend it. Every Newcastle fan is screaming at it. Invest it in the right areas. The centre-back position, okay? Potentially full-backs going forward. They need that. You know what I mean? Centre-mid.
So your 3 to go down, I'm assuming Norwich, Watford and one other?
Yeah, and one other. I can't tell you right now because we're going to have to save it. But I think Burnley and Newcastle will find a way of surviving. I just have a feeling.
Liverpool, I said 3rd, you said 3rd. They are 3rd and 9 points off the champions. And we've got to mention the name Mo Salah.
We do. And Jota and Trent and pretty much the whole team, because at a time they were looking like the best team in the world, weren't they? Then obviously things started to fall apart, and now it's AFCON. It's going to be difficult to win the Premier League. I don't think they will, but I think the Champions League, they're very likely to.
Yeah, they just need a little bit more strength in depth. I mean, sometimes the bench isn't as strong as the likes of Man City, but Trent Alexander-Arnold has been brilliant.
Amazing.
At times, watching Liverpool is a joy.
I think in January they might need to sign a backup for Mane or Salah. A winger maybe that could play on both sides. We've seen them. They're linked with that Diaz guy from Portugal. They've linked with Rafinha, but Bayern are interested too. Maybe an extra signing to compete for that front 3. Jota's an incredible year though, hasn't he?
Amazing, Theo. He is 2nd place in the Golden Boot race behind his teammate Mo Salah.
Fair play. Liverpool have had a good year. We both got it right with 3rd. We've got to give ourselves credit. We've got 1st, 2nd and 3rd all correct.
Leicester City, I said 5th, you said 5th. They're actually 9th. And some of the big players have not really shown up there.
Well, we both put 5th. They're in 9th. So we can both admit that we got this one slightly wrong. I think it's mainly because of the injury crisis they've got. I mean, they're playing Ndidi and Amati at centre-back at the moment. European football added to that. That's probably why they've got so many injuries. Yes, they need more squad depth to compete in all these different competitions at the same time. And that is why I think they've dropped out a few times, but they beat Liverpool recently and they've shown character. Brendan Rodgers is a good manager, isn't he?
He's a very good manager, Theo. A great guy. 9 goals to Jamie Vardy. He's 34 years old,
He's
Theo.
smashing it, and they still need him. I think he's just had a little bit of an injury blip recently, so he's not going to play it. Well, that game's called off anyway, so Leicester will have time to, they might need a few January signings because they need extra squad depth to compete in all these different competitions. But the likes of Dewsbury Hall to break into the team is excellent. Lookman's coming back now. And Didi at centre-back with Amati, they're both smashing it. They're covering and they're doing well.
Absolutely, and of course James Maddison is finding his form. Bit of an injury worry at the moment.
True. I thought Luke Thomas did a great job of marking Mo Salah out the game.
Fantastic.
And Luke Thomas is, again, broken into the team. It's nice to see. So I like what Brendan Rodgers is doing. Leicester, it's a good project.
Brighton and Hove Albion, 13th, 12th. They're actually 10th. They're not scoring many goals, though, are they?
No, not too many goals. I think what we got to say about them, they've had some important wins. Welbeck last minute, 2-0 win before that. At Brentford at home, that is the Moneyball derby. They've had a lot of draws, and it makes me think they're currently 10th, right? If they had turned a few of those draws into wins throughout the season, they'd be in a European spot right now. That's how good they are. They do play good football. The likes of Duffy, Cucurella, Lamptey, Trossard, they've all been outstanding this season, haven't they?
Some wonderful players there, Theo. Only 4 defeats all season. They're a good unit. A bit like Wolves. Very, very hard to beat. Neil Maupay, let's give him some credit. He scored 7 goals in 16 appearances. He's turning into a goal every other game.
And Basuma, before he got left out the team, he was smashing it. He's come back into it and he's playing at the same level. What a ball-winning midfield. I mean, when you watch him, he's just everywhere, isn't he? The whole team is performing under Graham Potter. The system is correct. they're going to go from step to step.
Burnley, 19th, 16th. They're actually 18th. Will they survive, Theo?
It's a big question, isn't it, Dad? Will they survive? I'm going to say, I'm not too sure. I think they can. Right now, the team is looking bad. The big problem they have is Chris Wood has scored 3 goals. He's played nearly every Premier League game this season. He's not even the top goal scorer. Maxwell Cornet is with 5 goals, and he's been injured for most of the year. A level of quality in their front three is too low. In January, it's very simple. You've got to buy a winger or a striker who's a poacher, a goal scorer.
That's a very good point, Theo. They have 2 or 3 games in hand, don't they? And they've actually drawn half their games.
Defence is not a problem. Tarkowski,
yes.
Pope, they're all smashing it. The problem is in attack. If your striker's got 3 goals, you're not going to stay up. Even Pookie's got more. Seriously.
Yeah.
They're going down like that. They need a striker and they will survive.
Manchester City, I said first, you said first. They are first. They've scored the most goals. They've conceded the least goals. They're just magnificent.
They're smashing it this year. Cancelo, Rodri, Gundo, De Bruyne is being rested, but when he plays, he's amazing. Cancelo, unbelievable. The whole team is performing, isn't it? No one is dropping off.
Absolutely. You could argue that Jack Grealish is taking time to fit in, but they're sharing the goals around.
Well, it's not going to happen straight away. Which player has gone straight into that City team and just performs the highest? It takes time to fit the Pep system, but it has been working. You can't complain. They're top of the Premier League. Even Raheem Sterling's back performing. He's got like 7 goals. Previous years with City, we've seen the players too tired. They played the same 11 at the end, and that's part of the reason we could argue they lost the Champions League final. I don't think that'll happen this year. I think they're favourites to win Champions League. Because look at De Bruyne. Only 9 starts this season out of potential, 20? There's a reason for that. They're getting them looked after and rested and less likely to get injured for the later stages. His top men are getting ready. So City, they're really playing. Pep Guardiola is doing a great job this year.
Leeds United, I said 10th. You said 7th.
Yep.
They're actually 16th. Theo, you thought Leeds would finish above Arsenal.
Dad, they were 9th last season.
I know they were.
They were 2 points off Arsenal.
So what's going wrong?
What's going wrong? What's going right?
Yeah.
Dad, they've had a few injuries, and usually a team has a few injuries, and luckily they've got good squad depth. Leeds don't. Leeds, in January, need to buy backup quality. It's not helped that the likes of Bamford are out, but if you only have a team to finish the equivalent of 9th, if everyone is fit every game, it's not going to work.
True that, Theo, but Jack Harrison last season, 18 contributions. This season, 1 contribution. He's dropped off, hasn't he?
Dad, Leeds need to go into January and spend big. They need to sign a centre mid. They need to buy some more fullbacks, another striker. They need to spend some money.
Theo, I think Leeds are going to stay up if they keep hold of Rafinha.
Yeah, Rafinha as well. They need to hold on to him. They need to get Bamford back in the team. If all these things do happen and they do actually spend some money in January, then yes, I believe Leeds will be able to survive. Do you not wonder about Bielsa's tactics though, Dad? You lose 7-0 to City, you go into an Arsenal game and you play the same tactics. Koch man marks Lacazette. So when Lacazette drops into his own half, Koch is following him. There's a massive gap in centre-back now that Martinelli runs into, and they scored off it. And they scored twice off it. They don't change their tactics too much.
Yes, and I do have that same concern. Bielsa at times is intransigent. He sticks to the same thing.
The man marking, the high pressing. They'll watch Leeds from 90 minutes the game before and understand what you're going to try to do. That's why they got battered then.
A manager like Sean Dyche is much more pragmatic, isn't he? He changes his tactics.
He does.
Depending upon the opposition.
Having said all that, I believe in Bielsa, and I think he will not only keep them up, but push them to a high mid-table finish, similar to the end of last season. And I believe that if he receives a budget from the Leeds board and spends it on the players that he wants, he can make it work. His tactics, we've seen it. He is a top manager. So best of luck to Leeds and your fans. That is us reacting halfway through the season, the end of the calendar year, to our Premier League predictions we recorded in the summer. We might get roasted a little bit, but we just try to be as honest as possible.
Happy New Year to every single one of you.
Yeah, you lot are the best people in the world. The fact that we get to sit down and talk about football, we do this anyway, but we turn on a camera and you guys watch it, and that's basically what we do. That's our job. It's insane. Amazing. You guys made that possible. So thank you so much for an incredible 2021. We're going to make 22 even more special. And with your support, it's going to happen. Subscribe, turn on notification, #TDL up the boys.
Happy New Year.